When calculating the standard deviation by hand, it's always a good idea to stay organized. And one way to do that is by using a chart similar to the one on the screen. There are 3 columns to this chart. In the first column, we'll put our data. And the data doesn't have to be in any particular order. So we'll just write it down in the same order that it's listed. Now the second column of the chart wants us to take each data value and subtract the mean. Well, we don't have the mean, so we'll have to go and calculate it first. So we'll need a total of the data values. And if I add those together, I'll get 64. The mean is going to take the 64 and divide by the number of values that we have. So 64 divided by 5 is 12.8. So in the second column, we're going to take each data value and subtract the mean. So 2 minus 12.8 is a negative 10.8. And I just keep going. 5 minus 12.8 is a negative 7.8. 15 minus 12.8 is 2.2. 32 minus 12.8 is 19.2. And 10 minus 12.8 is a negative 2.8. Now a good check that you're on the right path here is if you add these answers together, noticing that some are negative and some are positive, they should add up to 0. If they don't, then check your arithmetic. You may be a little bit off. Okay, and in the third column, we're going to take our answers and we're going to square them. And so when I square positive or negative numbers, I always end up with positives. So I'm going to take my negative 10.8 and I'm going to square that. So if I look at how to do that, I'm just going to do 10.8, hit my square key, and the answer is 116.64. So I'm just going to work my way down that column. The square of negative 7.8 is 60.84, and then 2.2 squared is 4.84. The square of 19.2 is 368.64, and then the square of negative 2.8 is a 7.84. Okay. So what we're ready to do next is something called the variance, but before I can do that, I need a total on this third column. If I add those 5 numbers together, I'll have 558.8. Okay, so variance comes in and takes that total of the third column and divides by 1 less than the number of values that we have. Well, we started with 5 values. So if I subtract 1 from 5, I get 4. So I want to take my 558.8 and divide by 4. And if I do the division, I should have 139.7. Now that's something called the variance. But what I'm really after here is standard deviation. I'm close. Just one more step. Standard deviation is the square root of the variance number. So I want to take the square root of 139.7. So if I plug in, or ask for the square root of 139.7 on my calculator, oops, I need a 7, then I see I have 11.819. So if I round to 2 decimal places, that should be something like 11.82. And there's the standard deviation.